if not important enough to start now, it's not important enough for you to follow through. It isn't the action of whatever I want to start tomorrow that's going to propel me. It's getting rid of the idea that starting tomorrow is sufficient. You're finding comfort in tomorrow. The future is a mystery. The past is history, but now is a gift. That's why it's called the present.
Welcome to part 2 of my conversation with Danny Massa. Danny is a husband, a father, a New York City firefighter, a contestant on CBS' most popular show, Survivor, and a trained, certified Wim Hof instructor. Danny and I dove into what it's like to be on Survivor, Wim Hof breathing techniques, how he became a certified Wim Hof instructor, and much, much more. I hope you enjoy the conversation. It was one of my favorites. Episode number 460 with Danny Massa. Enjoy.
Hey, this is Danny Massa, and this is Vinny Brusco Show.
And here we go.
So you did the Wim Hof thing, and then when did Survivor kind of come into the mix?
So, I didn't get certified. So this is weird about the Wim Hof thing. I didn't get certified. I did the the first modules of Wim Hof are internet-based. So they're like just a course you have to do. You have to pass all the courses, and it takes a very long time to go through all of them. And I go out there. So I've been practicing Wim Hof for years now. I started doing the modules 2 years ago. 2 years. I'm talking about in Survivor present tense. And I go out, do Survivor, come back. They take your phone, obviously. I got my phone back when I landed in LA after filming was all done. First email I opened up was, you've been invited to the master module to come train with us in Marillo de Tau, Spain, to become official Wim Hof certified instructor.
And that's invitation only?
And, yeah, well, you have to do master module 1 and 2, and it's a waiting list. And you got to be, you can't just show up to that.
Hello, I'm here to learn how to do some breath work.
I'm here to train with the guru.
Right.
Where's Wim?
Right. So you get back, you land in LA. That's the first thing you're receiving is an email. So kind of poetic that now you have left this journey of Survivor, which I want to talk about, the things you've obviously learned there and your experience there. And now you're on this new, almost like a baton passing to this new journey of Wim Hof.
Yeah, exactly. Wow, I didn't look at it that way. Man, that sounds so much cooler than what I looked at it. I was like, I did Survivor and I got really into breathwork. You're like, you're on this adventure of Survivor and then pass the baton to another adventure. Yeah, but that's it. That's the way I feel about it. I got back. The Wim Hof was, a little bit, I signed up for it, but, it was some time to go. And I was like, I'm not waiting. And this is where, like, the beauty of the dichotomy of, like, ambition. It could be great and it could be bad. This is one of the times it was good because I started reaching out to Dr. Belisa Vranich, and I'm like, yo, I'm obsessed with breathing. I don't know enough about it now, but I'm going to learn. How do I teach it like you? She's like, I have a certification. And I'm like, I already read her books. I'm like, I knew she was incredible. I knew, and then just speaking to her on the phone and hearing what kind of person she is and like what she gets jazzed up about. I was like, this is it. I want to be like, my own version of what she does. So I was certified within a month and a half. Her course Wim Hof course is beautiful and I'm sorry to say, it was like a two month. It took time. It was a lot of hours work, a lot of reading. Like Dr. Belisa Vranch's course in the breathing class, it's incredible. There's no fluff. You're not like reading anything. It doesn't matter. Everything all the reading assignments are extraordinarily pertinent. But it is a college course. Like to be certified by her, you know what the fuck you're doing.
Yeah,
she's not throwing these things around, and that might be one of the reasons why she's not like a household name.
Well, that's the thing. It goes back to the earlier point, right? You have the Wim Hof, who is the poster child or the billboard of this world of breath work and cold, right? And then you have other people who are doing the work, right? Doing the work, and maybe better, might be better, maybe more authentic. I'm not sure. I didn't go through either one. Different, perhaps. We'll just use different.
Different.
But just as impactful and just not not the poster child. And it's not Wim Hof's doing, he was on Rogan, and then obviously things unfolded for him, but he was always, he became a very household name.
Yeah. Yeah. He became a very, he's got a weird, the reason why he blew up and it became kind of like a corporation of like the Wim Hof business. His kids took over the business and ran that for him, which is it's beautiful because they've touched so many more people. But also they made it like a business, like monetized, because Wim Hof does not give a shit about
right.
See it from his house. He has he's like very very
very modest. Yeah.
Yeah, very similar to like the way like you and I would like all right, if fast forward 10 years and we are absolutely crushing it in a fiscal sense
with that.
Yeah,
we're crushing it with that.
Crushing it with that. Like, we're doing the same thing,
right?
Except like it would probably be like, I
wouldn't have to get up and adjust the camera and fix it, right? It's like it wouldn't be the Wayne's World when they're doing it in the basement and then they recreate the basement. And you're like, whoa, like this is not. It doesn't feel authentic anymore.
We would have a Brusco cold plunge.
Right.
And you already have a sauna.
Yes.
Yeah. So we would just have like, I guess, a couple additions to like more convenient. Instead of having to go get ice, we would have that's how Wim Hof's house is. It's like really beautiful, but it's like, there's no chairs.
Right.
He says but and that's why his breathing is so good, because you don't sit in chairs. It's just a bunch of bean bags, and he's got like the everything expensive he has, like the saunas, his barrels.
Right. He puts it where it's important.
Yeah, I don't even know if he has TVs. They seem he does not care about money, but his kids have turned it into a really successful, awesome, well-run business. That has, I think there's 800 instructors now.
Wow.
But like now, just speaking genuinely, it's time consuming and it's like extensive, and you got to really be comfortable in the cold and teaching, but it's definitely not as difficult to become a Wim Hof instructor.
Not as academically challenging.
Yeah.
Is it more rooted in breathing or more rooted in the cold?
Breathing.
Okay.
Guided breathing and the rhythm of like your breath work and everybody's style of like teaching. I love running my Wim Hof classes and having like bringing one of my buddies, fellow Wim Hof instructor or just breathwork facilitator to come and jump in and do the rounds. I really enjoy getting different senses of so let's say if I'm like we did a session like, fully in and let go and fully in and let it go and let the wave rise and let the wave crash and let the wave rise and let it go, and then have somebody come in and and then like be more like I'm more of like a I teach breathwork sometimes more like intense, and then I have like my buddy Irene. She's we did the Wim Hof Academy in Spain. She's actually a police officer in Jersey, and we have totally wildly different styles. And she takes people on a totally different journey than I do, and I love it. Like I love, like we did a class in Midtown in Lolo, and she comes in and it just shows it. It really shows you how powerful the breathing is, because I took you one place with the breath and she took you another place with the breath. Well, you took yourself there, but she
guided you.
Yeah, guided. Like so it just shows like, wow, when I did it, his style, I felt this way. When I did it her style, I felt this way. And it's like both are incredible, and it really shows you that you could choose to go his style or her style anytime you want. Like you're empowered by it.
Yeah, it's that internal expression of that journey. That's cool.
Yep.
So you get back from Survivor, you get the baton passed, you go to Wim Hof, you go to Spain, you get the certification, and you're rocking and rolling.
Yeah. And I was teaching breathwork from Dr. Belise's certification. As soon as I got her cert, which is I landed and I started. I got back from Survivor and I started. I reached out to the bar I was working at. I said, "Hey guys, thanks so much. I miss you guys, but I'm gonna be bartending again."
This is not that for me. So let's rewind now. So obviously, Survivor is quite the experience for you. How did that all come about? How did you apply? What was that process like? And kind of take me through the steps of, the survivor journey.
So I watched Survivor much like yourself. I watched Survivor with my sister, my nieces, my nephews. My sister watched Survivor with her late husband when it first, Richard and
Yeah.
they were obsessed. My sister could never watch the show. She was, it was one of their favorite shows. They would get together. My brother-in-law dies. So my sister and my brother-in-law adopt 2 kids from Haiti, have 1 biological, and then he dies. So needless to say, it was very difficult for her to watch Survivor. Years later, when the kids are of age to communicate and control or remote control, they've stumbled upon Survivor on their own. And mommy, come here, watch a show with us.
I got chills, dude. I got chills right now. I really do.
It's wild, right?
That's wild.
It is wild. So now we lived in a 2-family house at the time, and they're watching the show, and they're like, "Oh, go get Unky." That's me. They're like, "Go get Unky to watch Shota." So I come down, and I'm like, I never heard of Survivor, so we start watching. And ever since then, my niece and nephews would be hounding me. Unky, you gotta go on this show. You do so great. You do so great. And my niece, she's like so smart. She's actually just graduating college May 20th.
Nice.
So this week, she'll be graduating up at Oneonta.
Nice.
And she
congrats to her.
Lived in Haiti until she was 7 years old. Which I think watching and knowing like my sister's story and my niece's story, like legitimately eating dirt to battle off like starvation hungers. I think there's a level there that my ability to connect with them, and my sister, lost, her husband, and she had, 3 kids after, a mixed family. So, their own difficulties in that. That kind of has kind of calloused me to like sometimes other people's experiences, like when I hear like things that I deem as like whining.
Sure.
It's like, oh, you've eaten dirt sandwiches to battle off hunger before, right? Like my niece. Oh, you haven't? Okay, then maybe shut the fuck up.
It's hard though, because problems are relative and relevant, so it does kind of put people in a position where this is the worst thing that's ever happened to me, and then there's this, it's like trauma. The word trauma gets thrown around a lot, and everyone's trauma is relative and relevant to their experience. And the root, just like the feeling of joy or the feeling of that is expressed differently. The root of that is the same. The root of that trauma or the root of that worst thing that's ever happened to you is the same. It's just expressed in this different way. But obviously eating dirt sandwiches is a completely different level of human experience.
I just don't like. I watched that level of trauma overcome. Like I've never dealt with anything remotely like that. Not even close. I have the most fortunate human being I can't even fathom. But I've watched people overcome. I watch these ladies overcome, and the way to do it, like from watching their lead or their examples, they're never a victim, even though maybe to you they were. Maybe to somebody else, not you, but maybe to another human being, they were like, oh my God, like my niece wasn't. Nope, my sister was never a victim. Like, so now I'm looking like if I'm going to give advice to like, oh, how do you overcome what seemingly like insurmountable things to overcome? Well, you can't perceive yourself as a victim, even if you've been victimized. Right. Like which even if you're wrong, even if you're not being logical, like take a second. Like, like I'm watching just what they did. Like my sister lost her husband, then went and got her doctorate. That's the way she handled. That's the way she mourned. Like, he was like, okay, well, there's a lot of energy here. It's gonna go somewhere. I can't be shitting my kids. So like, where can I put this energy? So like, that's the way to do it. Like there's like whining and victimizing, like it doesn't, and not like I can't speak, like I've never gone through anything difficult, like obviously relatively speaking.
Sure.
Like my life is very silver spoon, I would say. I'm in America, white dude and from middle class family. Like my parents are incredible. Like,
Right.
I'm like but I've watched other human beings. I've watched my niece, watched my sister, and I care about human beings in general. I was like, I've seen it done. I've seen people overcome things, and the way they did it was not being a victim. So it's like, and I feel like in our culture and a lot of it today, it's like now it's like you get points for being a victim, or like you're like it's almost like uh your worth is like how much you've been victimized. Like or like it's like that guy where if you talk about an injury, they bring up like their injury that's worse.
Well, yeah, it's the you're right, right, right.
Oh, you?
Right,
Hey,
right.
you,
Bro,
you back?
bro, let me tell you, bro.
Yeah. Oh, you have force-slipped this? Good. I wish I was fucking floor. Like, it's
The one-uppers,
yeah, one number of
victimhood.
yeah, victimhood, which is like a shitty
Well, I think people want to feel like they are connected. So I don't know if the one-upper is necessarily trying to one-up or if they're just looking for that empathetic connection with someone where they're able to say, look at me, I'm going through that too. But their expression of it is so rooted in machismo or culture that they're not able to move past that barrier and be human about it. But it's rather more of like, oh, you, me, like we're storytellers, right? Like we sit around a fire. It's in our DNA to sit around and have conversations, and society has definitely removed that. That's why I love this platform so much, because we can have a conversation, but society's removed that so much. And I think ultimately, and one of the lessons I've learned from, how to win friends and influence people is that ultimately people want to be seen. People want to be seen and heard for who and what they are, whether it be trauma, whether it be joy, whether it be that or this. People want to be seen and heard. And I think that one-upping is just an expression of that, but not allocating that energy properly or socially appropriate.
I'm going to take that with me.
Take it. It's yours. It's ours.
Because I think that's definitely somewhere where I need to like grow as a human being, is like kind of like look at, and maybe it's like an insecurity I have. Like I never want to like do that. And I know like human beings like, all right, like I love surrounding myself with people like you, like optimistic and like, hey, I want to get this done. Like, oh, I want to do an ice bath. Oh, cool. When do you want to do it? Tomorrow?
Right.
Like why? Because then that's how I'm going to be. Like, oh, I want to tackle this goal. I want to read this book. When do you want to start? Now.
Well, I look at it as opportunities to catch lightning in a bottle, right? Like there's always, I started 75 hard 2 days ago. I fell off the second day and I was like, fuck, I feel like a failure. And then I was like, well, there's that, or it's you are married, you have 2 children, you work a full-time job, you could barely get in 1 workout. How are you going to get in 2? Right? So it is that relationship that you develop with yourself. But I look at it as like there's always an opportunity to set you on a completely different trajectory, whether it be a diet, a mindset, a workout, because you never know what's going to be the catalyst to propel you forward. So if you don't try right there and then you could fall short and you might be depriving yourself of an opportunity to project yourself in a completely different way. So what better time than now?
Yeah. Yeah. And that's like when I hear people say like New Year's resolutions.
Right.
I'm like, I'm usually like kind of like ghoulish overkill when I do this, but like, dude, New Year's resolution, I'm going to do this. I'm like, don't even fucking start.
Right. Or just start now.
Or either start now or don't do it. Like, or become a statistic. New Year's resolutions don't work. I'd be like, maybe, telling somebody New Year's resolutions are like, okay, you want to be a jiu-jitsu black belt, train once a month.
Right.
It's like, all right, it's better than nothing, I guess, but like you're not going to get what you want.
Right.
Like, so start now.
Right.
Like,
and I think the thing about New Year's resolutions is that they offer a line of demarcation where it's like, now I'm going to start this thing. And those are great. But what's the difference? A calendar year? Like
a fabrication.
Time is a man-made. Right. It's man-made. A calendar is man-made. It's really irrelevant. If you really break it down, it's completely irrelevant. So, January 1st or March 14th or March, whatever it is, they're all fairly irrelevant other than your birthday.
If Even to be argued that that's irrelevant.
Well, potentially.
And to me, it's like, if it's not important if not important enough to start now, it's not important enough for you to follow through.
Right.
Like, now that being said, there's like, alterations to that rule. Like, let's say if a fight camp jiu-jitsu thing, it's like, all right, well, I don't want to, timing. I'm using timing as a tool.
Sure.
But like when it comes to like pushing things off, like I'm gonna start that tomorrow. Like that. Like don't start the action. Like attack the root of like where. And I'm speaking from like my own.
Sure.
Like it isn't the action of whatever I want to start tomorrow that's that's gonna propel me. It's getting rid of the idea that starting tomorrow is sufficient. It's like,
God damn it. Yeah, that's a good point. Hey guys, if you're enjoying the podcast, do me a solid. Subscribe, rate, and review. And of course, spread the word, tell a friend, click the notification buttons, do all that good stuff. It is greatly, greatly appreciated.
You're like the perception of tomorrow. You're finding comfort in tomorrow. And so, well,
His part doesn't even exist.
The future is a mystery. The past is history, but now is a gift. That's why it's called the present.
Right.
Kung Fu Panda. But I'm sure I'm sure.
I think it might be from somewhere else. I want to go back to one thing that you spoke about, or you mentioned with your niece, and that's being, a victim of circumstance. And have you ever read Viktor E. Frankl's Man's Search for Meaning?
I have not. You told me about it.
Yeah. So I highly recommend that book, because if anybody can overcome circumstance, that is the story of a guy surviving seven concentration camps.
Oh
so
my God.
Yeah. So I mean, and the stories he tells and the depth that he goes into is gut wrenching. But if someone could survive that, and yes, there is happenstance and there's circumstance that he was able, but at the end of the day, he stayed in his mind. His mind was not there. His mind was somewhere else. And you can call that avoiding, you can call that coping, you can call it whatever it is, but he survived them. And whether your sister getting her doctorate is a coping mechanism, it's a healthy expression of that energy that's going to be allocated towards fear and depression and anxiety, or it's a healthy expression towards pursuing something better to make herself better, make her life better. So you could take those energies or those mindsets and apply them anywhere you want, and it's really up to you. But it goes back to a point of, well, you're going to kind of rest on your laurels and look for tomorrow, or you're going to kind of put the pedal to the metal and go forward.
Yeah. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
Like, and don't attack things tomorrow. Attack the perception in your mind that you're seeking comfort from tomorrow. It's not going to bring you happiness. It's going to give you like, it's like doing drugs.
Yeah.
It's like, like I'm not averse to drugs, but if you're using the drugs to code a problem, I'm averse to that.
Right.
So like look at it as like, you saying I'm going to do it tomorrow is like you're taking a drug that, that makes you not worry about
today.
Yeah. So it's like, do it fucking now, within reason. It's like, if you want to, like, let's say you just have a revelation at like, 11 p.m. at night and you have work.
Right. You might want to slowly integrate these things.
Yeah. But like, but you can still take action. Set your alarm clock a fucking hour early. Like, and like, boom, that's action. Okay. I'm not going to start tomorrow. I'm going to start in a couple hours.
Right. But that takes radical responsibility and again, as someone who kind of preaches that and sets the alarm, there are many, and more so recently than ever, I turn that alarm right off. And that's okay. Yeah. Like, it's okay and it's not okay, right? It's okay because I have the awareness of it, but it's not okay because I'm not doing anything with the awareness. But again, circumstances in life, and I call them valid humanistic excuses, because at the end of the day, they're excuses, but they're fucking valid. And you could say, well, how can how can an excuse be valid? Well, they can be. Because when you have reality and you have life that's kind of knocking on your door, you have to interface with it accordingly.
Absolutely. And then also you get like, if you do, jack yourself up and you don't become adaptable. It's like, okay, well, I thought I was going to be able to, spend time with my kids, hang out with my wife and work out, two times a day. Yeah. If you become this rigid person who is like disciplined 2 times a day is happening, and it's like, then you're like this disciplined.
Yeah, I go back and forth with that personality in my head. I go way back and forth. I'm like, is that the real answer? Like, am I just being a bitch, or am I like, or is that not the answer? I don't know. I go back and forth. I want to go back. Yeah, you're gonna say something.
Oh, I like to. That's why, like the people who like I like follow and study, like they vary wildly. And it's like I love Jocko, I love Goggins, I love Wim Hof, the program and no program. Like Wim Hof is late to everything,
Right?
And like
that's every Brazilian jiu-jitsu instructor ever. There's no time. It's like, oh, we start class at 12, 12:15, 12:30. It's fine.
And it's like that dichotomy of like, I listen to like Alan Watts, reading a bunch of Alan Watts' like books right now. I'm rereading Jocko's book, and it's like that's where like I find like my peace, the balance of like being like, yeah, man, peace and love, and like
it's a warrior in a garden.
Yeah.
I want to go back to your niece telling you Unky has to watch this show. Unky should be on this show. So what was that jump from I should be on the show to holy shit, I'm fucking pulling up to Fiji and there's fucking Jeff Probst.
You're incredible at helping me finish stories. I wish I can bring you with me throughout life. I would like you're
well, I could sell you a program that'll allow you to be
right. So they're like, Unky, you gotta go on Survivor. You're gonna do great on it. My niece, I go, okay, fill me out an application. And I'm like, I don't know the exact number. I think like hundreds of thousands of people apply to be Survivor. They call me for season 41, but I'm not panning out. But I never reapplied. They just reached out again. They're like, hey, would you still be down for season 44? And by this time, my wife is pregnant. And my niece edited and did all my like the video. Like I sent it to my casting producer, Caitlin, who's like he became like really like a cool buddy of mine. And she basically they just help you. Like they're your kind of spokesperson for trying to like to get you on the show. Like, okay, your video is good, but tweak it like this. So I go to my niece and I'm like, hey, they wanted it like this, and my niece like altered it, and we recorded.
They wanted you on season 41. You made it past the first round. Okay, gotcha.
And then it fell total radio silence.
Gotcha.
They reached back out for either 43 or 44, and kept going through. And eventually, then I had a Zoom interview because everything with COVID now. We did a Zoom interviews with the producers. I had to get like a ring light and see how you look on camera, and nerve-wracking stuff. It did interviews with them, and I think like 4 or 5 interviews. It was more extensive than becoming a New York City fireman. And I'm not
sure it was.
Yeah, and then eventually you have the interview with Probst, and then Jeff Probst, the showrunner, for those who don't know the show, and then I had my wife with me at the time. She had a big baby bump, and I had a Zoom interview with Jeff. Just asked me about why I wanted to show, what what I told Jeff. And Jeff, you would love Jeff. He's like total like.
I could tell you that I would, just based off of Tribal, because he is, he's immersed in the human experience, and he is a conductor of human interaction. And watching him, like, he's a psychologist up there. And it's that's what I love about the show, is watching all the different angles and all the different people and the interactions. And so watching him orchestrate that is it's like watching a conductor.
So exactly what he calls it is the human condition. He is a student of the human condition.
Yes.
And he really is. And he like, he's malleable. He is, follows passion. And to get to talk to Jeff while while he's pregnant, he sees a baby bump. And the next interview I had with Jeff was kind of like the final to like, official invite. We had a baby, Tallulah.
That's cool.
Daughter. And like Jeff loves stuff like that, like the survivor journey, and like, the road to getting there. And a bunch of interviews, and then avoiding COVID. And next thing you know, we're flying out to LA, and then they quarantine you. keep you locked up in a hotel room.
So after the show ends, which obviously it's over, you go back to LA or you remain on the island?
You go back to so after the filming is done, everybody gets to hang out at the Ponderosa for like a night or two, or the jury.
Gotcha.
If you didn't make the jury, you go home early.
Gotcha. Okay, because you're not exposed, obviously, to knowing what happened on the show.
Yeah, it used to be actually no matter what, you're out there for the entire time.
Yeah,
even if you're voted out first
day, so you're there for is it a month?
About a month, yeah.
About a month.
Uh-huh.
The way you played the game was, I think, very authentic to your personality, kind of what I mentioned earlier. Do you think you just got voted off this past week?
Yeah.
Being invested in you as a friend, I was bummed to see you go. Do you think that you would have made any changes to the way you played the game? Because you obviously led very strong, right? You led very, very aggressively. You were very you. And I hate these type of questions. I watched a couple of interviews with you, and some of these questions are so like I'd rather go back to like the conversation of like human condition and growth. But it's hard not to talk to you that you had the experience on the show. So would you have changed anything, or like knowing now in hindsight the way you played and your personality and seeing how things played out?
No, I never go into like, if I go into a jiu-jitsu tournament and I lose, like I like eradicate the concept of mine. I wish I would have done this when I did this. Like, I don't, because if I wish I would have done that, then my next tournament I would have made the mistake and somebody else would have capitalized on it. So, would I wish I would have done anything differently? No, absolutely not. What I'll do better in the future, and I got to watch it on center stage because I got to watch like my interactions and like my me interacting with people. Is that which, and also hindsight's 2020, and then also it's a rushed weird. So it doesn't represent how I am in real life, but a lot of times it's rushed and kind of like I'm already kind of like an energetic person who says things with conviction. That I would take more time in studying if I ever played the game again, and like people's reactions and delving into other people's perceptions outside of my own. Like I was like, all right, this is logical to do for that person.
Yeah, but you could drive yourself crazy like that because there are so many personalities, there's so many conversations, there's so much going on that if you try to immerse yourself in the way of thinking of the other people, you can go, I mean, you see it transpire a lot with people who start to get really paranoid and it doesn't work out well.
Oh, yeah. We saw it in season 43, the Bond lady.
Yes, I know exactly what you're talking about.
She was fine. And
she was fine, but she got really paranoid. And then everyone was like, dude, she's losing it. Yeah. So she needs to go. Yeah, and that paranoia starts to play against you. And then you become like crippled by your own analysis of people and what's going on. And are they thinking, are they talking? And you can get caught up in that narrative too. And that obviously doesn't lend itself. So I think you have to play it to the best of your own personality, but take into consideration, slightly, I guess, what other people are feeling and thinking.
I 100% agree. And one thing a goal I had going in is that like, okay, what's unlikely? What's unlikely is to win. And like, as much as like, you can, because you're going in gambling. This isn't a fight. It's not a jiu-jitsu match. It's not like you can go into a jiu-jitsu match and do every single thing right. And 99% of the time you're going to win. Like, I didn't let anybody flatten me out and let anybody, pin my scapula. Like, I maintained, a proper, I took out, base. I maintained everything. I was constantly aggressive. I was constantly ahead. You're going to win. In this game, it's not jiu-jitsu. It's a lot. It's a card. It's a poker. So you can get dealt different hands and like you can play the best game possible and not win. But one thing is for certain is that like you want to not leave coulda, woulda, shouldas. It's like, so now the propensity of not coming in first place is high. So like most people aren't going to win. You look at it from like
of course, right? Just sheer numbers.
Take ego out of it. Take everything out of it, and just look at it from what do you want to guarantee? What guarantee can you take away? I can guarantee that I'm going to leave here with no regrets. And I did the game I played and the game that I approached it with was like, as Jeff calls it, full tilt boogie.
Right.
And like that's a testament to like kind of like how I approach things in life, and how I approach the game was like full tilt boogie, like let's go, like kill or be killed. I'm gonna take a bunch of shots, and then even towards the end, like going at Carson, like I knew I was going after him because he's an absolute assassin, and it's like I didn't think I was gonna roll up and it was gonna be easy. If I thought it was gonna be easy, I wouldn't be going after him because I could do it anytime. Like,
yeah. Well, it's weird because in that show, the better you start to do, the bigger the target becomes, right? So you were playing perfect. I mean, and again, not because we're friends, but you were playing a perfect game. Like you were obviously the puzzles were challenging for you. The physical aspect of it, you were doing well, and you weren't winning everything where people are like, we gotta get this motherfucker out. But your presence was known. Right. And then all of a sudden your name started to bubble up. Right. And you did a great job of deflecting. And again, we're only seeing snippets. Right. We're only seeing snippets of what's actually transpiring. So you have to take everything you're watching with a gigantic grain of salt. But the way you were playing the game was, I mean, I was watching, I was like, fucking doing well. Like he's going to win this thing. But then all of a sudden you start doing too well. And now you become the target. Now people are talking about it. Now Danny becomes the threat, and you're starting to bubble up, and now it's, we got to get him out. And now you're a physical threat. Now you're and that, you know what I mean? So that awareness starts to creep in too. So you almost don't want to play too well.
Yeah, but you can't go into like
life.
Life. A game is a big condition. You can't go in. Honestly, I went in when at this point I got to start winning immunities. And I didn't, and that was the killer. It's like you play the kind of game I played, like full tail boogie, hyper aggressive, super fun. Like I didn't really, and this was an advice. Jeremy Collins, a former contestant, Survivor legend, and I went up talking to him before I actually went to the show from firefighter stuff. We saw each other at a firefighter thing. I'm like, hey man, any advice to ever get on the show? He's like, play to have fun, don't play to win. Like your chances are you're not going to win, but there's 100% chance you're going to have fun if you play that way. And that's the way I approached it. And the way that I wanted to is like I quoted Connor. I'm not here to take part. I'm here to take over.
Yeah,
I'm not here to take part. We're here to take over. Is that if I got to the end, I didn't want it to even be like a question. It was like if you go into a fight and like the judges, if I got to the end, it would have been a knockout. It wasn't going to be a decision. If I got to the end, I win.
Right.
I didn't leave it like anybody's like I played. If you get to the end playing the kind of game I played, which was like hyper aggressive, in your face, I played flashy. I could have given Franny the idol and I was like, no, like I wanted to do that. Like, let's go, dude. Like we're I wanted a target on my back. I wanted it, a target on my back and be able to go in and out, manipulate the circumstances of the game, as I saw fit, and had fun with it. And sometimes I did. And then it only takes one time when you didn't in this game.
Yeah, that's the rough part about it. Hey guys, just want to take a quick break from the podcast to talk about something I'm super passionate about, and that is men's mental health. For those of you who may not know, I am a certified life coach, but I prefer the term journeyman for hire. And 4 years ago, I started the Council of Dudes, a men's group that has monthly meetings to lean on each other, to have open and honest conversations, to build community. So if you're a guy and you're looking to find like-minded individuals to help you see your blind spots and point out some insights and perspectives they may have in their own life, head on over to vinnybrusco.com, click the Council of Dudes banner, and sign up and join the council. What would you say obviously you're a very insightful guy. You had this mindset of growth and wellness going into this experience, which is a vacuum, right? A vacuum. You're basically watching a human experiment in a vacuum of different personalities, different people, but you having this introspective approach to life. How did that kind of lend itself well to being in that kind of vacuum?
So anytime anything got like difficult, like I pre-framed that. I knew it was gonna be difficult. Anytime somebody did something incredible, and like let's say like bested me, like Franny bested me, Lauren bested me, Jam Jam bested me. Like I was upset because I wanted to win. Like I want to win everything that I do, just like everybody wants to win everything I do. But at the same time, I was able to like really still dwell on like, you know, a rising tide lifts all vessels. Like watching people do impressive shit is still impressive to me. Like even when I get beat, I don't like getting beat. Like, I don't want to be like I'm like, you know, the Dalai Lama over here being like, I was actually happy. No, I was pissed off. But you can be pissed off and still admire. And like that's something that like I brought into the game. And like, you know, like you can see the last immunity I lost in the last gasp. Like you know, I don't know if it came across in camera. I was excited to watch Jam Jam do that, like the mental fortitude. He did like a torture game,
Right.
and he did it crazy impressive. I'm like, I was impressed by it. I'm not gonna, I was all those things. I'm like, you know, do I contradict myself? Good. Like I contain multitudes. Or it's a quote I love. But yeah, I'm all those things. I'm mad I lost. I'm bummed out. I'm impressed. I admire, like I, you know, and like to watch and be inspired by, you know, inspired by others, and to get jazzed up by humans ability to do incredible shit is something that I've always kind of been happy that's a part of my my being. Like, you know, I think I get my parents have, like, you know, been so good to me that like I'm confident. I believe enough to like see people do really cool shit. Oh, they could do it. Like they're human. I'm human. I could do cool shit too then. Like so watching people do really like impressive stuff impresses me, as opposed to making me feel negative, makes me feel good. And I think that's something that I'm really grateful for. Like I don't think that's something that I worked towards. I think it's something that was given to me by like my parents. So like really grateful for that. And then also I knew I was gonna be hungry. So like I pre-framed, like, and I thought about my niece starving like a lot. Like, you know, like this is a game. I really actually really appreciated. Yeah, I've never been hungry before in my life. Like, isn't that crazy? I've never really been hungry. I've been hungry. I
Yeah.
cut weight for fights, I, you know, and whatnot. But like, so I really was like, oh my God, I'm playing a game of hunger.
And that's a game within the game within the game within the game. That's like the depths of layers, because you don't realize. That's why I really do my best to stay away from the word starving.
Yeah, try to.
Yeah, when people are like, I'm starving, I'm like, are you?
Yeah.
Are you starving, or are you just really fucking hungry? Because there's a difference there. Because there are people that are starving.
It's yeah.
But you're not one of them right now.
Yeah, yeah, like oh, your body's eating itself.
Right.
Like, no,
You got pretty fucking shredded though. You were
dude.
ripped.
I'm like, yeah, tan and shredded. I hope we get the pictures from like the you know, the Ponderosa. Like I was like you know, I got some food in me, so I filled up a little bit, but I still had like string bean arms. I'm like, oh my God. But yeah, it was like a really insane weight cut.
Yeah, for sure. What was, or what is the biggest takeaway that you got from Survivor that obviously translates to life?
So with the world being like, you know, you kind of shut the world off and you separate and you kind of like abstain from everything in life, everything that's not important and everything that is important. So I abstain from my wife, my daughter. I abstain from being on my phone. I abstain from seeing my mom, my sister, my nieces and nephews. I abstain from going out to bars and drink. I abstain from everything. So when I separated, like I realized like what I truly missed, like what I really missed. And you know, and now talking about it kind of reinvigorates this, and hopefully I can, you know, kind of relive and tap into all the things I gained from the experience. But you know, just like everything else in life, like, you know, some things are like perishable. Being out there, separated, abstaining from everything, put in perspective what is truly important. I'm like, you know, me stopping bartending, me not that I'm like, you know, really go out that much, you know, anymore, like but a lesser value on going and not spending time those who like I hold like truly dear, like like wasting time, like drunken nights, like everybody. All right, I can have a conversation with you, sober, drunk, high, whatever you want to call it. They're all going to be fun. But people who you don't really connect with, like you throw in a couple of beers and it's like, no, the guy's fucking awesome.
Right.
Even because it just makes people who there's a lack of substance. It makes a lack of substance fun. I think Brian Mazza, he talks about it, that a lot, and that resonated with me. So just being out there and being separated from everything, really put in perspective what is most important and how valuable time is. And like, I don't want to waste anything I'm not passionate about. And it's like how there's a limit or like whatever. Like if I'm going to do something I'm not passionate about, like I better like be getting paid a lot of money so that I have more freedom so I can do things I'm passionate about.
Yeah. That's the that.
Yeah.
That's the that. Dude, I'm so happy that we connected. I'm so happy that we share, when you find like-minded individuals and you find people that are on the same frequency that you're on, I think it's probably, if not the most valuable tool to encourage and to motivate you to be better. It's you're the sum of the 5 people you surround yourself by. And by surrounding myself by someone like you, it allows me an opportunity to grow through these conversations, through, what you do, what I do. Your ice baths and breath work, I'm sensory deprivation and conversation. But they're the same thing being expressed in a different way. And I value and appreciate the relationship that we've developed, and I'm excited to see where it grows. And I appreciate how you show up in the world, because it's not easy to be the guy that's doing breath work or ice baths, but you're authentic to yourself. And I always value people who show up in the world as their authentic self. So I'm blessed and honored that you're here, and I appreciate the conversation, and I look forward to where this all goes.
Oh, let's do it, man. That really that touched me, and thanks so much. And I look forward to it. And let's do a fight companion.
Let's do it. We could do one right in here.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
The TV up. Where can people connect with you? Where can people get your services if they want to get an ice bath or a breathwork session? Where can people get all that information?
All right, cool. As you know, Breathing with Danny, the Council of the Dudes, we are doing a beautiful event. And Igor Gracie, the legendary Igor Gracie, at Igor Gracie in Eastchester, May 21st. We're starting at 9 a.m., right?
Yeah, buddy.
We're gonna do some breath work. We're gonna do some bonding. You're gonna hear some life coaching from Vinny. I'm super pumped. I've gotten a bunch of benefits just from our bullshits and our talks. We're gonna do some breath work. We're gonna do some ice baths. That's May 21st. After that, I'm gonna be doing Flolo May 24th, which come through. You're always invited to. There'll be Flolo Midtown starting at 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. There's gonna be a bunch of this is probably gonna air after. But either way, breathingwithdanny.com, that's where you'll find all of my my services. Breathing with Danny on Instagram, Breathing with D on Twitter. I don't know. I'm not great at tweeting yet.
I don't tweet.
It's very confusing to me.
Yeah.
And Breathing with Danny on YouTube, and I put out a bunch of free stuff. And then if you go to breathingwithdanny.com, you can it'll pop up. You do my newsletter, and I'll send some other cool free stuff. And then, like I said before, eventually I'm going to use those names together in the email and try to sell you some stuff so I can fiscally gain and hopefully
do that for a living.
And do that for a living. That's the plan.
That's the goal, man. Thank you again for coming on, man. This was tremendous. I enjoyed the conversation, and yeah, dude, this is awesome.
Awesome, man. We can do it again soon.
For sure.